So, this is how I made my first 10K selling digital products. Before I started selling digital products, I tried dropshipping, affiliate marketing, trading, all sorts of different online businesses, and nothing really worked out. But then I tried digital products, and my life hasn't been the same since that day. And the only reason I started selling digital products was because they just seemed it just seemed really easy and cheap to start. 100% profit margin, no shipping cost, no cost of goods. It just seemed like a perfect thing for somebody with not a lot of money to start. All you had to do was basically market and get the customer to buy it from you, and that's it. Your job's done. But obviously, there's a lot more that goes into selling digital products than you might think, and it's not as simple as I thought and people think. So, first thing, I had to find a niche. A problem that I wanted to solve. And I chose the fitness niche because I knew a little bit about it. And specifically, I chose the weight loss niche. Even more specifically, I chose the women's weight loss niche. Most people don't know that the more you niche down, the better and easier it is for you to actually solve a specific problem. And most people think that, well, if you niche down a lot, then you're not going to have as many customers. But that's just not true. The market is huge. And if you do somehow manage to run out of customers, which you won't, you can always just niche up. And also when you niche down, there's just less competition. You're not competing against the big guys. So next thing I did was I looked up some competitors to see what kind of digital products they were actually selling. And it was, just a bunch of cookbooks, apps, trackers, Excel sheets, workout plans, stuff like that. So I decided to make a fitness and weight loss Google Sheet tracker. A simple but in-depth all-in-one tool. You can plan your workouts, you can track your calories, habit tracker, meal planner, a section for your progress pictures, pretty much everything you need to track and follow your weight. And I just made this shit over the course of a couple days in Google Sheets because I didn't have Excel. So Google Sheets was just a nice free alternative. And also most people have Google Sheets and most people don't have Excel because I think you have to pay for it. So it was just a nice free alternative. It took a little bit of time to make because I didn't really know shit about Google Sheets, but eventually I made it, designed it, make it look nice, made it look all pink and shit for the women. And I'm also kind of skipping some things. Technically, I made this whole thing because I wanted to help my mom lose weight and stuff. She asked me if I could help her track calories, so I made this thing for her. She was technically my first customer and testimonial, and then I decided, oh, well, if she likes it, maybe other people on the internet would like it, and that's how I kind of got into selling this thing. But that's irrelevant. Nobody cares. Moving on. So basically, after I made my product, I started working on a lead magnet, which is just a free, simple product that solves a quick, simple problem and gives the customer a nice, quick, free, easy win. For me, I decided to go with a healthy cookbook. It was like a healthy, high-protein recipe cookbook. I might throw up some pictures of it just so you can see what it looked like. It was nothing crazy. It was just like a cookbook I made over the course of a day. So then, after I had my product and my lead magnet, now all I needed to get done was a simple landing page and then sort out some marketing. So I did some research into different websites. You got, Shopify, Stand Store, all that stuff. But ultimately, I just went with Beacons AI in the beginning because it was free. And then later I switched on to Systems.io. So I just made a quick landing page, very simple, uploaded my product, connected it with my Instagram, put it in my bio, and then the hardest part of all started, getting customers. I've always been pretty shit at marketing, but this time I decided to go a bit of a different way than usual. Usually if I was selling some physical product, dropshipping type shit, I would just have my Shopify website, and then I would run Facebook ads directly to my product page and hope my creatives were good enough and my website was good enough to convert. But this time I tried a different way because I realized that people are probably not going to buy this digital thing from me if they don't know me at least a little bit and trust me. People have a hard time trusting digital products, especially because you can't physically hold it and interact with it in real life like you can with, shoes or a toothbrush or whatever physical thing you buy. So you have to build that extra level of trust between you and the customer in order for them to buy your digital thing, they're giving you money in exchange for some pixels on screen. It's a tough sell for some people. But basically, the whole process involved me capturing leads through giving away my lead magnet by boosting Instagram Reels and then using ManyChats to automate the whole process. So once people would comment a certain word, in my case it was food or health or weight or whatever, ManyChats would then automatically send them a DM with some pre-written text that I wrote saying, oh hey, glad you're interested in this thing, here's a link to your free cookbook, or whatever the name of your lead magnet is. And then they would just click on the link, and then ManyChats would send them to a landing page, and they would enter their email and then receive their lead magnet. And I would have the most valuable thing when it comes to marketing: their email. If you can get people's emails, man, that is like the best thing you can have as a marketer. Because email marketing is so powerful and so good. And it's cheap. So now let's say you spend $100 on a boosted post. Well, that usually gets you about 30,000 views, depending on the video quality. At least looking at my past metrics. And usually you'd have about 0.5% to 2% of those people comment your keyword in order to receive the free lead magnet. Obviously, that also depends on how intriguing your lead magnet is and how clear your call to action is in the video. So for me, I get on average about 1% of people. So in our case, you'd get about 300 people commenting the word food or whatever the keyword is, which means that's 300 leads you just got from a $100 boosted post and your free lead magnet. So once I did all that, now all I had to do was put those leads into an email flow over multiple days, specifically 7 to 8 days. And over those days, I would introduce myself, I would share my story, show testimonials, handle objections, and then in the last 2 days, I would, show them the offer, give them a nice little discount or whatever, just a nice offer, nice little bonus, whatever, something to get them to buy. Now, I was selling a $47 Google Sheet tracker. Now, usually the email flow conversion rate is anywhere between 5 to 10%. Obviously, this depends on your price, but mine was hovering from 6 to 8% usually. And this can be higher depending on the price of your product and how good you actually are at writing emails and also how warm your audience is. If you got 100,000 subscribers, you don't even need to do an email flow. You can just put out an offer and people will buy from you because they trust you and like you. But I was doing this to a cold audience, so I needed to warm them up. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I got about an 8.5% conversion rate, on average. So that means I got about 25 people to buy my fitness and weight loss tracker for $47, which means I made about $1,100 from a $100 investment, which is a pretty damn good return on investment, especially considering this is just from one boosted post, which is the nice thing. You can boost as many posts as you want. I eventually started doing that. I started doing 4 per month, so one video would be boosted from Monday to Sunday, and then I would boost another one the next Monday. And eventually I started to dial in my emails as well. The writing got better, my landing page got better, more testimonials started coming in because I was getting more customers, and overall conversion rates started going up. And I also started to spend more on boosted posts. Then I also introduced upsells, downsells, cross-sells, tripwires. So I wasn't just selling a $47 thing anymore. I was also selling a $29 thing, a $17 thing, to increase my average order value and boost my ROAS even higher. And that is really how you make the most money with low-ticket digital products. You have your main product, and then you just upsell, cross-sell, do all that stuff to increase your average order value. And then, you introduce affiliates, which I did, and then all of a sudden you're making, $10K per month in profit. And that is pretty much how I did it. I could go way more in depth, but for the sake of this video, I want to keep it short because otherwise this is going to turn into a 3-hour long course, which I don't really want to do. But that is basically how I made my first 10K online. It was surprisingly simple, but it also came with problems. But I solved them and eventually made my first 10K, and it felt amazing, and it still does to this day when I make money this way. I love it, and I'm never gonna go away from digital products. I think they are one of the best, like, niches of money making online you can get into. Digital products, especially nowadays, with all these like tariffs and stuff on like drop shipping. That shit's kind of, you know, shit. So yeah, I stand by it. Digital products are fucking great, especially if you don't have a lot of money. They're very easy to start. Um, yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.